I didn't expect to catch her cheating because of an oil change. The receipt was crumpled in the cup holder, different city, different date, while I was out of town. I stared at it for a second too long. Maria had no reason to be in that area. She didn't have friends there, didn't work there, but my car had been serviced there. My car. She always said it was ours, but I made the down payment. I paid the insurance. I worked nights so she could go to school full time. That car was supposed to take us to a future she kept talking about, a house, kids, weekend trips. But the dash cam didn't lie. I watched it that same night, footage from a few days earlier. Maria in the driver's seat, some guy in her passenger seat, hand resting comfortably on her leg. They laughed. He kissed her cheek at a red light. She smiled. In my car, the same seat where I used to hold her hand, the same gear shift she once wrapped her fingers around while pretending to learn how to drive. Now she was showing him how to adjust my mirrors. I didn't react, not outwardly. I paused the video, rewound it, watched it again, and then I smiled. It wasn't the smile of someone broken. It was the smile of someone who realized they held all, the power. They just hadn't used it yet. She thought she was smart, clever, thought I wouldn't notice a few extra miles on the odometer. But she forgot I'm a mechanic's son. I read diagnostics like love letters, so I did what any heartbroken man with a little pride left would do. I installed a remote kill switch, and I waited for her next date. Maria and I weren't some high school sweethearts. We met at a used bookstore on a rainy Wednesday, both reaching for the same coffee-stained copy of The Alchemist. She laughed when I let her take it, said it was fate. I didn't believe in fate until that moment. She was warmth, in a world I had grown cold toward. I'd been working construction during the day and running deliveries at night, stacking shifts like bricks just to survive. She said I worked too hard. I said she smiled too sweet. I think that was the balance we thought we'd built. She moved in 6 months later. Said her roommate was toxic and her dorm was too cramped. I didn't hesitate. I cleared out my drawers, gave her half the closet, and bought new sheets. The kind she liked, soft and floral. I even gave her my parking spot, said I'd park on the street. That's how much I trusted her. I trusted her with space in my home, space in my bed, and eventually, space in my future. I bought the car after 2 years of saving. Nothing fancy, but reliable. Sleek black paint, leather seats, sunroof. She loved it. The day I brought it home, she jumped into the passenger seat, kissed my cheek, and whispered, "Now it really feels like we're building a life." I believed her. I used to imagine her in that passenger seat when I drove to job sites. I'd picture weekend trips, maybe a drive upstate just to chase sunsets. She talked about wanting to see the mountains one day. I thought, one day, too. She started using the car more when she picked up side gigs and part-time campus events. Said it helped her stay productive. I was happy to let her take it. After all, we were a team. My hours paid the insurance. Her time kept the apartment warm. We weren't rich, but we were comfortable, until the miles didn't make sense anymore. One Thursday, I got in the car and noticed the dashboard was reset. The seat was adjusted all the way back. The radio was playing some station I'd never tuned to, one of those smooth-talking R&B channels with late-night love dedications. Then there was the receipt, an oil change 2 towns over, on a date I knew she hadn't told me about. I asked her about it casually. "Did you get the oil changed last week?" She blinked once. "Oh yeah, I think so. That shop near the library, right?" That's when I knew she was lying. The receipt had the address printed on it, and it wasn't even close to the library. It was near a place I knew, an area known for rooftop lounges, expensive date spots, and boutique hotels. Not Maria's crowd, not mine either. But I didn't call her out. I smiled, kissed her on the forehead, and thanked her for being responsible. That night, I checked the dash cam. I'd installed it for security months ago, thinking of hit and runs or theft. Never imagined it would show me the woman I loved in my car with someone else. The guy was older than me, probably mid-30s, clean-cut, cocky smile. He looked like the kind of man who never had to fight for what he wanted. and judging by the way Maria leaned in to whisper something in his ear, he wasn't fighting at all. I watched them laugh. She brushed something off his shoulder. He kissed, her temple at a stoplight. She rested her hand on his thigh. In my car. The car I was still paying off. The car I had envisioned our future in. That's when something inside me shifted. It wasn't rage. It was focus. I paused the video and sat in. Silence for a long time. The apartment felt too quiet. Maria was in the shower, humming. I remember that because the sound felt like it didn't belong to the same world I was in anymore. I went to the balcony, called an old friend of mine, Derek. He works in automotive security systems. I told him I needed a remote kill switch installed. No questions asked, he came over the next day. I paid him in cash. Maria never noticed. I kept playing it cool. Let her keep the routine. Let her keep the car. I watched as she left the apartment in outfits I hadn't seen before, sprayed perfume I didn't buy, wore lipstick that left no trace on my lips anymore. Every time she left, I checked the GPS logs. Every time she came back, I reviewed the footage. Every time I smiled. She probably thought it was love. It wasn't. It was patience. I wanted to know who the guy was, how long it had been going on, what she said about me when she thought I couldn't hear. I learned his name first, Joe. She said it while laughing at a joke he made about my playlist. The same playlist she once said made her fall in love with me. The dash cam became my silent witness. The betrayal wasn't just physical. It was in the way she laughed more freely with him, the way she touched her hair when he complimented her, the way she looked at him when she thought no one was watching. She looked like someone I didn't know anymore. So I stopped loving the woman she used to be and started preparing to say goodbye to the one she'd become. Maria started texting more. She was never good at hiding things, only good at pretending I wouldn't notice. Her screen brightness was lower. She'd flip her phone face down when she walked into the room. And once, while I was folding laundry, I caught a glimpse of a message notification. Pick you up in 10. Got the seat warm for you, Joe. She must have seen my eyes pause. Her voice came instantly, rehearsed. That's just Ariana. We're planning a girls' trip. I didn't ask her anything. I just nodded. But I remembered what I saw. The message preview didn't show Ariana. It showed Joe. That same evening, she came home with a new necklace. A sleek gold chain, subtle, expensive, tasteful. I asked her where she got it. She hesitated before saying it was a birthday gift from her aunt. Maria doesn't have an aunt in this city. That's the lie that broke me more than anything. The casual kind. The kind that isn't even carefully crafted, just tossed into the air like it didn't need to hold up. That night, she left the apartment to study with friends. I waited 20 minutes, then logged into the car's GPS system. The pin stopped outside a rooftop lounge. I switched to dash cam. Maria was in the driver's seat. Joe was already waiting on the sidewalk. When he opened the door, she leaned across and kissed him before he was even all the way in. The smile on her face wasn't the one I fell in love with. It was sharper, looser, reckless. He ran his hand across the dashboard. Still smells like you, he joked. She laughed and replied, I cleaned it today. Can't let my boyfriend catch on. Boyfriend. That word hit like concrete in my chest. She meant me. The man who paid for that car. The man who gave her his everything so she could chase dreams without worry. The man who turned down overtime so he could spend Saturday mornings making her pancakes. I paused the footage and looked around our apartment. Everything here had my fingerprints on it. The couch she sank into every night, the coffee machine she never cleaned, the shelves filled with books she hadn't even read, just bought to look cultured. I saw my name written in every corner of this place, and yet I was the one being erased. She came home at midnight. I was still awake, sitting on the edge of the bed. She kissed my cheek and said she missed me. I didn't move. I asked her how the study session went. She smiled and told me, Ariana was having relationship problems, so they stayed up talking about how guys never really listen. I wanted to laugh, but I didn't. Instead, I said I had to get up early and rolled to my side without another word. She curled into my back like nothing had happened. Her betrayal didn't feel cinematic. There were no screaming matches, no shattered plates, no sudden confessions. It was quieter than that, more patient, a daily erosion, like someone slowly draining water from your lungs while convincing you that you're learning how to breathe. The next morning, I picked up her phone while she was in the shower. It was unlocked. That told me everything. She didn't think I was a threat anymore. I'd become furniture, reliable, predictable, too loyal to be suspicious, too tired to dig. But I wasn't tired. I was done. I opened her messages. Joe's name was under J. Their entire chat history was there. He called her babe. She sent him photos of herself in my hoodie, captioned, "Your favorite." She texted him about weekend plans using my car in my fuel with my GPS still on. She said she was trying to ease out of things with Jordan slowly so he doesn't act out. Act out? I read every message. Each one chipped away at what little affection I had left. What hurt wasn't the cheating, it was the indifference. The way she spoke about me like I was a mild inconvenience. The way Joe laughed about how he's probably too dumb to notice. How she replied, "He's sweet but clueless. He'll forgive anything." She never gave me the chance to be angry. She'd already decided I was harmless, and that was her mistake. I closed the messages, placed the phone exactly where I found it, and sat down at the kitchen table. When Maria walked out of the bathroom, her hair wrapped in a towel, she smiled, like it was any other day. I handed her the car keys. She blinked. "Aren't you working today?" "Car needs a stretch," I said. "Take it wherever you want." She looked at me for a second too long, then smiled again. As she grabbed the keys and headed out, I opened my laptop, logged into the tracking app, and quietly activated the kill switch controls. I didn't sleep that night. Not because I couldn't, but because I didn't want to. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the same image. Maria sliding into my car, her laughter echoing as she leaned into someone else. My car, the one I paid for, registered under my name, the one I used to pick her up after work, drive her to family dinners, take her on road trips just to make her smile when she was having a bad day. Now she was using it for midnight joyrides with Joe. That name burned. Joe, my so-called friend. The guy who came to my house, ate my food, shook my hand, and now drove away with the woman I once thought I might marry. There wasn't just betrayal. There was humiliation. The texts, the location pings, the late-night detours that never made sense. Suddenly everything clicked, every memory twisting in on itself like a knife. At first, I tried to tell myself there had to be a misunderstanding. I wanted to believe Maria would never do something like that to me. She wasn't perfect, but she was mine, or at least I thought she was. I remember sitting in the dark, staring at my phone, hoping she'd message, explain, deny, anything. But nothing came. Just silence. By morning, I was angry. Not the kind of rage that burns out quick, but the kind that simmers just under the skin. Cold. Focused. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just sat there, sipping my coffee, every sip feeding the plan forming in my head. I called the dealership. The car was mine, and I had kept every document. The payments? Still being deducted from my account. Maria never paid a single cent. I had to see it with my own eyes before I did anything. So I waited. I knew her routine like the back of my hand. Around 7, she'd leave for errands, always vague. By 7:15, my car pulled out of our apartment parking lot, and like clockwork, Joe slid into the passenger seat. Sunglasses on, grinning like he owned the world. I followed them. From a distance. My heartbeat didn't even spike, just cold calculation. They drove downtown, stopped at the same cafe I used to take her to. She ordered my usual drink. He kissed her hand. She laughed at his dumb jokes. It was surreal. Watching someone else live the life I built. And worse, seeing her so comfortable in the betrayal. What hit hardest wasn't the cheating. It was the ease, the comfort she had, using what I gave her to entertain someone else. The memories we'd made in that car, the late-night drives, the music playlists we made together, the time she cried in the passenger seat and I held her hand through red lights. It all meant nothing to her. That night, I sat with the keys, in my hand, staring at the ceiling. My chest was tight, not from heartbreak, but from disappointment. Disappointment in her, in myself, in all the warnings I had ignored. The next day, I went to my garage, opened the tracking app, and watched them take the car again. This time they headed toward a resort on the edge of town. I waited exactly 25 minutes. Then I made my move. When I arrived, I spotted the car parked under the palm trees near the lounge entrance. I walked over without hesitation, opened the door using my spare key, and slid into the driver's seat. Their bags were in the back. I checked the dashboard. Half a tank left. Enough. No one noticed as I pulled out. It wasn't until I was 5 miles out that my phone buzzed. Maria. The name flashing made my hand tighten on the wheel. I didn't answer. The second call came from Joe. Declined. Then the texts started coming in. Where's the car? Jordan, what the hell are you doing? Bring it back. We're stranded. I didn't respond. Just drove. For the first time in weeks, I felt in control. Not because I'd taken revenge, but because I'd stopped giving them space in my life. Let them sit on the curb. Let them figure it out. Maria used to say she loved how steady I was, that I was always calm, dependable, solid. I wonder if she thought I was too steady, too easy, too predictable. I wonder if she thought I'd never leave, never retaliate, never repossess what was mine. Funny, I used to think love was about giving, but maybe it's also about knowing when to take something back. It had been 3 days since I repossessed the car and left them stranded like yesterday's trash. I hadn't heard a word from Maria since that last flood of texts. No apologies. No explanations, just silence. I thought maybe she got the message. Maybe that curbside humiliation knocked some reality into her. I was wrong. On the 4th day, I came home from work and found a letter taped to my apartment door. Not slid under it, not mailed, taped, bold and public. Anyone walking by could have read it. Her handwriting was unmistakable. Jordan, you've gone too far. I get it, you're hurt. But this is petty and beneath you. You embarrassed me. You left us stranded like criminals. If you don't want me, fine. But don't ruin my life over it. My fingers crumpled the paper before I could stop them. Petty? After all she did, this was petty? She used me, humiliated me, lied to my face for months. And now I was the villain because I finally said no? That was the moment I realized something I hadn't let myself believe until now. Maria never felt guilt, not real guilt. To her, this was never about what she did wrong. It was about how I reacted, and just as I was about to toss the letter in the trash, I caught sight of the name at the bottom. Not just Maria, but Maria and Joe. They signed it together. That was the second twist, the turning point I hadn't seen coming. It wasn't just Maria who felt entitled. Joe, my so-called friend, was now fully a part of her fantasy world. They weren't just partners in cheating, they were now a team. Against me. That same night, I got a notification from my bank. Unauthorized attempt to access my car financing account, followed by a flagged login attempt from Maria's email. She was trying to report the car stolen. They were trying to flip the script, claim it was theirs, that I had taken it illegally. I stared at the screen for a long moment, pulse silent, emotions frozen. That's when I realized this wasn't over. Maria wasn't just walking away from what we had. She was trying to rewrite it, trying to turn my revenge into something criminal. So, I did what I should have done from the beginning. I lawyered up. I gathered every receipt, every insurance form, every document showing my name on the ownership line. I printed photos of her driving the car while I was still paying for it. Even screenshots of her texts bragging about using her boyfriend's ride. Then I checked the security cam I had installed months ago in the garage. There it was, clear as day. Maria unlocking the car using my keys. Joe jumping into the passenger side like he owned it. Evidence. I didn't want to go legal, but they dragged it there. The next morning, I filed a restraining order and officially reported attempted fraud. That evening, as if the universe wanted to mock me a bit more, I ran into Ariana. She stood in line behind me at the pharmacy, eyes wide when she recognized me. We hadn't spoken in months, not since before Maria slowly cut off every woman she saw as a threat, including my longtime friend Ariana. "Jordan?" she said cautiously. "You look tired." I exhaled. "I feel worse." She nodded slowly. "You want to talk?" I hadn't realized how much I needed someone until she asked. We sat in her car and I told her everything about the cheating, the betrayal, the car, the letter, the legal battle. Ariana didn't flinch. She didn't pity me. She just listened. Really listened, and when I was done, she said something I wasn't expecting. "Maria's not done. People like her don't stop until they feel like they've won. Be ready." She was right. 2 days later, I got another email from Maria's new lawyer. They were filing a property dispute. She claimed she had joint ownership of the car because we'd been in a long-term cohabitation. She was trying to steal what I owned, legally. That was the second twist. This wasn't a breakup. It was a war, and she just made her next move. The court date came faster than I expected. 1 minute, I was flipping through the neatly labeled folders my lawyer had prepared, and the next, I was walking through the courthouse doors and seeing her, Maria, standing there with Joe, dressed like the innocent party. Her makeup was subtle, her eyes downcast, like she'd rehearsed looking emotionally wounded in a mirror. Joe stood tall beside her, confident, almost smug. For a second, I thought about all the years we had shared, all the mornings she kissed my cheek goodbye, all the nights I'd waited up when she came home late. I thought about the weekends we spent fixing up that car, her head on my shoulder in traffic, telling me she felt safe with me. And then I remembered that same car, my car, pulling away with her and Joe inside, her hand on his thigh. Whatever. Softness was left in me, vanished right there. We sat across from each other in silence until the court clerk called our names. Maria's lawyer stood and spoke first, painting her as a young woman taken advantage of by a controlling partner. Claimed I'd emotionally manipulated her, used money as a leash, that the car was co-purchased, and the relationship functioned like a domestic partnership. Maria didn't say a word. She just nodded occasionally, wiping away non-existent tears. Then it was my turn. I stood up slowly, letting every second of silence stretch. When I spoke, my voice was low and steady. "Your Honor," I said, "everything she just claimed, every word, is a lie." I passed the judge the paperwork, the loan in my name, the receipts from my bank, the dash cam footage showing her unlocking the car with the keys I paid to duplicate. Then I pulled out the final piece, a flash drive. "I'd like to play one clip," I said. "It's from a security camera in our garage." The judge nodded. The video played on a monitor beside the bench. There they were, Maria and Joe, laughing as they got into my car. Her exact words clear as glass. "He still thinks I'm out running errands. Idiot doesn't even know he's paying for our road trip." Joe chuckled. "You're the real MVP, babe. Milk him a bit more. He still thinks you love him." I didn't look at her. I just stared at the judge. Silence fell. The courtroom didn't erupt or gasp like a movie scene. But Maria's lawyer stiffened. Joe's smirk cracked just a little. And Maria turned her face away. Her fingers trembled in her lap. Then, out of nowhere, Joe stood up. "This is a joke," he barked. "She was using him, sure, but he knew it. He let her do it. He wanted to feel like a hero." The judge raised a hand. "Mr. Joe, sit down, or I will have you removed." I looked at him now. For the first time, I really looked. He wasn't intimidating. He wasn't clever. Just another small man trying to ride someone else's money to a big life. The judge cleared his throat and delivered. The verdict. There is no evidence of co-ownership. The car is clearly in the petitioner's name. The court sees no legal justification to Maria's claim and considers her attempts to seize the property as malicious and deceitful. Case dismissed. Just like that, it was over. But it wasn't. Done. As we walked out of the building, Maria rushed after me. "Jordan," she said, her voice breathless. "Please, that video, it was taken out of context. You don't understand." I stopped, slowly turned. "Context?" I repeated. "That's what you're reaching for now, context?" Joe hovered behind her, clearly unsure if he should intervene. "I messed up," she said, voice cracking now. "I know I did. But you can't tell me there weren't good moments. You loved me. I know you did. Things got confusing, and Joe was just convenient?" I asked. She flinched. I shook my head. "You're right. I did love you. I loved you enough to ignore every red flag. Enough to open my life, my home, my wallet, and my heart. I gave you everything, and you spent it all like it was owed." Her eyes glistened. "I didn't mean to hurt you." "But you did." She reached out, touched my arm. "Please, let's talk, really talk. We can fix this." I stepped back. "Maria, you used my name to drive another man around. You used my loyalty to fund your escape. And then when I took back what was mine, you tried to paint me as the villain. That's not love. That's convenience. That's survival. That's manipulation." She was crying now. "For real. Not performative, not crocodile tears." "Then what now?" she whispered. I looked up at the sky, then back at her. "Now?" I said. "Now I move on. For real this time." I walked away, head clear for the first time in weeks. Later that night, I texted Ariana, told her I'd won, told her I finally felt free. She sent back a single message. "Good. You deserve peace." But it wasn't until I sat in the car, my car, alone again, that I felt the full weight of what had happened. This car had been so many things. A gift, a weapon, a lie. But now, it was a reminder that love without respect is just possession, and trust without honesty is just blindness, and I would never be blind again. 2 weeks passed after the court hearing. No texts, no calls, nothing. From Maria, nothing from Joe. Just a quiet I hadn't felt in months, a silence that didn't ache, a silence that healed, but I knew it wasn't over. People like Maria don't just walk away. They circle, they scheme, they wait for weakness. And sure enough, on a rainy Thursday evening it came, I got a call from a mutual friend, Jason. He sounded nervous. "Bro, I think you should know. Maria's telling people you used her. She's saying you made her take out loans, that she never knew the car wasn't hers. She's twisting everything." I closed my eyes, exhaled. Jason hesitated. "She even posted a TikTok. Playing victim, crying, saying she sacrificed her youth for you and now you've left her with debt and trauma." Of course she did. It wasn't about getting the car anymore. It was about saving face, rewriting history. I didn't reply. I just opened my laptop, pulled up the folder labeled Receipts. Years of photos, messages, chats, proof of gifts, transactions, her admitting things in text. Even her own birthday video where she literally said, "Thanks for the car, even though it's still yours legally. I love you for letting me drive it like it's mine." I took all of it, compiled it, subtitled the clips, added my voiceover. Just once. Here's the truth. Believe what you want. Then I uploaded the video. Not on my personal page. I sent it anonymously to a large drama page that loved exposing fake influencers. And I walked away. Within 48 hours, it went viral. Over 1.3 million views. Hundreds of comments. She really tried to reverse you-know-him. Queen of delusion. Bro gave her the rope and she hung herself. Maria tried to fight back. Posted a teary response, then deleted it. Joe disappeared from all platforms. Last I heard, they were blocked by most mutuals. But I wasn't done. Revenge isn't always about rage. Sometimes it's about taking your power back quietly. Completely. So, I made my final move. I sold the car. The one she used like a stolen toy. Took the money and added it to a fund I'd started, a fund in my name for my peace. Then I moved. Not just physically, but emotionally. Ariana came by the new place a few days later. She walked in, looked, around, smiled softly. "Feels like you," she said. "Clean, honest, no ghosts." We sat on the balcony, a soft breeze brushing past us. I didn't have to explain anything. She already knew. Then her voice broke the quiet. "She reached out to me," she said. "Maria." My spine stiffened. What did she say? She asked if I was with you, if we'd been together before you two broke up, if I had something to do with the change in you. "And?" I asked. I told her no, and even if I had, she doesn't get to ask anymore. We sat in silence again, longer this time. I thought about Maria, about how someone can stand so close to your life and still never really be in it, about how much I gave and how little of me she ever truly saw. I turned to Ariana. "Did I change?" I asked. She nodded. "Yes, but not in the way she thinks. You stopped apologizing for being loyal to the wrong person." That night, we watched a movie. She stayed over. Not like Maria used to, demanding, entitled, bored even when she was there. Ariana curled up on the couch, laughed at the same scenes I did, didn't touch her phone once, and for the first time, I realized I wasn't watching someone to make sure they weren't lying. I was just there, present, free. A week later, I was walking through a mall when I saw her, Maria. She didn't see me. She was sitting on a bench alone, scrolling through her phone. No new boyfriend, no camera crew, no audience, just her. Smaller than I remembered. For a moment, I stopped. Just observed, and then she looked up. Our eyes locked. Hers widened, just a bit. She didn't smile. She didn't speak. Neither did I. But something passed between us. Not hate, not anger, just understanding. She knew I'd won, not because I hurt her, not because I exposed her, but because I'd let go. I walked past her without a word. No reaction, no nod. Just a man walking forward while she stayed exactly where she was, seated in her own consequence. I didn't look back. Because closure doesn't come when they say sorry, it comes when you stop needing it.